Anyway, let's see what that's all about. All right. A couple other things. Hollywood, well, you know, we've talked about this before. They're batshit too. A lot of what make up the Hollywood, the actors and actresses and the behind the camera people, the music industry, the vast majority of them are these left-wing, weak-minded. I've spoken many times about actors and actresses having to be empty vessels. The greatest actors are devoid of an actual personality. They don't have who they are in them. And they're who they are is a person that can just be filled up with another person's personality. And they play it off amazingly. They read lines that were written for them like it's them saying it. Most people, if you're handed a script, you will look like you trying to read someone else's word. It'll be awkward. When I was a kid, we would laugh when sports stars would go on shows like the Brady Bunch. Joe Namath or Don Drysdale would come on the Brady Bunch. And it's like, wow, it's Don Drysdale. And he'd be like, hey, kids, want to throw the ball around? Because it's Don Drysdale, a ball player, not Don Drysdale, the Hollywood actor. Most people aren't capable of acting. And it has nothing to do with going to school. You could maybe get a little better at it, but it's a thing. It's like being a prodigy, a piano prodigy. You're a little kid, you're 4 years old, and you're playing fucking amazing classical music. That's who you are. And for actors and actresses, they are people without real, authentic personalities. You open their head, a writer can pour words in, a director tells them where to go and how to move, and you'd swear who you were watching is the person they wrote words for. And I guess that's a great thing. We have amazing movies and TV shows because of that. But it doesn't make for a good person when they're not making movies. It makes for someone that is very, very easily manipulated. If you're not pouring a script of words to say in front of a camera in front of their head, you could easily pour some wacky ideology into their head and they'll just go off with that and start playing that. And that's what we see in Hollywood. And that is why we see insane behavior out of Hollywood. That's why they accept things like Scientology at an unbelievable rate. Because they're easily manipulated. They're weak of mind. And the latest example of this, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, they have kids, of course, transgender kids. Because, again, a lot of Hollywood has transgender kids. Not even just one. Some of them have two. Some of them, like, who is it? Megan Fox? Is that her name?
Yeah, maybe Charlize Theron. I'm not 100%
Charlize?
Sure.
No, I think it's both of them.
Yeah.
All their kids are trans. What a coincidence. What are the odds? Well, I'll tell you, astronomically improbable. So Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, they have a transgender kid. And I don't even know if this is the trans or not. She seems tall. Doesn't sound much like a boy, but who knows? Who knows with the drugs they're giving him? This young woman, daughter of Hollywood star Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, spoke at the UN. Yeah, pretty big time right there. Getting up at the podium in front of the United Nations, speaking to world leaders about important topics. And this idiot gets up there and tells the world that we need to still, to this day, September 25th, 2025, we need to be wearing masks. COVID masks over our face. She's been wearing hers for 5 fucking years. 5 years of wearing a mask. Can you imagine my bruises from my dog? Can you imagine the type of lunatic you need to be to wear a mask on your face for 5 years? I thought people were stupid for doing it for a week. I had my mask on during COVID. It could probably be counted in minutes the entire time, in minutes. I had to wear it on the Long Island Railroad, but I took it off when the conductor left. And then he'd come back and give me shit about it. And I went to the extent of getting a doctor's note and telling him I need to wear this. Dr. Steve. Yeah, he can't wear a mask. Very deadly allergy to the mask itself. No, it wasn't Dr. Steve. But I had to wear a mask there, but I would take it off. And anywhere else, I never wore a mask. I didn't wear a fucking mask. If I went to a restaurant, I think you had to wear one from the front door to the table. And then you could take it off. Do we remember how fucking insane the whole thing was? This whole fucking choreographed retard dance that we had to perform when we went to a restaurant?
For a bit in Vegas, you had to wear a mask, but you could take it off if you were smoking cigarettes and drinking.
Yeah, exactly. I went to Vegas during COVID. There were partitions between you and other players and the dealer at blackjack tables. And you had to wear a mask. And like Sean said, if you were smoking, you could take your mask off and smoke. Meanwhile, you're passing the same chips around the table to the dealer. It's going back out to that guy. The dirtiest things in a casino are probably the chips themselves. People, they cough into their hand, they grab the chip, they give it out. It's going into the dealer's rack. The dealer's now paying out someone at the other side of the table with the chips that you just coughed on. Yet we had to be in plexiglass coffins at the table wearing masks. The retard dance, the waltz of the retarded that they made us do for that year or whatever it was. And restaurants, you get to the front door, the host would be there wearing a mask. You'd have to wear your mask. I would show my completely counterfeit fake COVID thing that I printed out on some thicker card stock and filled out that I had my COVID shot and put the date on it and everything. And I carried that around with me. And then I got my phone app. I got an app on my phone where you took a picture of it, of the fake thing that I had, and just showed him that. And then you had to walk to your table with the mask on. And then you sat at the table. Now you could take your mask off. Where was that ever proven to do anything about a communicable by vapor, by water vapor coming out of your mouth and going onto someone else? Not even an airborne virus. Where was it ever proven that taking your mask off, walking, and then if you went to the bathroom, you had to put your mask back on? As you touched everything in the bathroom, I touch it with my feet. I'm amazing like that. I'm like a chimp in a public bathroom. But we would do the retard dance. And that mask mandate was in place for so long, so many places where you had to wear a mask. And a lot of people didn't wear it. I know I didn't. And Compound Media, we never made people wear masks there. And then when it went away and everyone decided they didn't need to wear a mask anymore, the masks came off. But some people are so mentally ill that they decided to continue wearing the mask. And they have been for 5 years. That is like a self-imposed prison sentence. You're putting that on every day. That mask is put on and you go outside wearing a fuck mask. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions. If you're undergoing some kind of therapy that compromises your immune system to the extent where someone breathing around you might give you a disease because your immune system is so compromised. Of course. And I'll usually give the benefit of the doubt of somebody wearing a mask, especially someone elderly, that is indeed the case. Give them the benefit of the doubt. You see young people, though, and they got a full head of hair, so you know there's no chemo going on there. Their skin looks healthy and everything. I just kind of look like, you're a fucking idiot. And Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's daughter doesn't seem to have any kind of disease, aside from in fucking sanity. So here is the daughter in front of the UN talking about mask mandates and how they should be brought back. Watch this.
For adults, the relentless beat of back to normal, ignoring, downplaying, and concealing both the prevalence of airborne transmission and the threat of long COVID, manifested in a series of choices. Young people lacked real choice in the matter and information about what was being chosen for us. Here's what we know about SARS-CoV-2. It is airborne, floating and lingering in the air. One infection can result in disabling damage to almost every cell in the body, from the brain and heart to the nerves and blood vessels. Every subsequent infection increases the risk of long COVID and places people who already have it in greater danger. Here's what we don't know, is what it does to reinfect children over and over and over again with no end point in sight from the day they are born. We are about to find out. As Dr. Akiko Iwasaki says, at this point, the whole population is the control group. And after only 5 years, long COVID has surpassed asthma as the most common chronic illness in children. 5 years. I am terrified for the children who do not or soon will not know a world without debilitating pain and exhaustion, who cannot trust their bodies to play, explore, and imagine, and who will not know the potential of their own minds unfettered by the cognitive damage from a COVID-19 infection. And I am furious on their behalf. It is neglect of the highest order to look children in the eyes and say, we knew how to protect you, and we didn't do it. We have access to a technology to prevent airborne disease, something that millions of our ancestors and millions of people around the world today would kill for, and we refuse to use it. And I shudder to think of where we will be in another 5 years of unmitigated infection and reinfection. But let me say on the topic of generational memory that while I imagine no one in this room was alive in the time of Jon Snow or Ignaz Semmelweis, many of you fought the long and hard battle against indoor smoking. My only memory of that era, at almost 20 years old, is being confused as a child about the no smoking signs on planes. Who would do that? That's gross. My hope for this event and my belief in this community rest on the belief that we can and we must do that again. We can recognize filtered air as a human right as intuitively as we do filtered water. We can create clean air infrastructure that is so ubiquitous and so obviously necessary, tomorrow's children don't even know why we need it. We need the people who remember 2020, who were not, like me, 14 in 2020, to be loud about the world that we were promised at the onset of the pandemic, when we and our institutions promised each other that if we only got out of that desperate acute phase, we would do everything we could to protect our communities going forward.
She wants you to slap a mask on your kids. The children, right? She's talking a mile a minute. She's all fucked up. God knows what they're popping into her fucking mouth under that mask. It's like a horse's feed bag. They just pour prescription drugs into it in the morning, and she sits there chewing on it in her mask all day long. That's psychopathic. That's insane. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. God knows what they fucking let these kids get away with and what they brainwash them with. Being around that community, that Hollywood fucking community. And this is her big cause now. At what, 20, 19, 20 years old? She could tell everyone they need to put their masks back on and tell every parent that their kid needs to put masks on for 5 more years or something. Oh, God. I don't know, man. Hollywood is a sick, sick fucking city. A sick place. Just what's lurking in those shadows. Your wildest fucking hallucinations couldn't come up with shit that is more horrifying than what is really going on in the darkest corners of Hollywood amongst their elite, amongst the beautiful people. All right, people.